Can you be a great friend and an economic bully both at the exact same time? Yes. If you're Donald Trump, the answer to that is obviously yes. Just a few hours ago, speaking to the reporters outside of the Oval Office, the US president dropped a bombshell comment about India. And it perfectly captures the high stakes geopolitical situation and the competition that is unfolding right in our backyard today. Hello all, welcome to ARK Reflections IAS. I am Yogiraj. Now let us understand what is exactly happening. In a classic unfiltered Trump version, Trump has spoken something, and I quote, he says, "I like your Prime Minister very much." He's talking about PM Modi here. "And he's a good friend of mine, but for years India took advantage of USA. They have charged us massive tariffs and now we are reversing it. We are making a lot of money with India." Think about that phrasing for a minute. Making a lot of money with India. Is this how a global superpower talks about its closest strategic partner in Asia? Or is this Donald Trump simply running a classical transactional business playbook on international diplomacy? See, while Washington frames this relationship through purely transactional lens, and other narrative is being built thousands of miles away. Can you guess where? Just as Trump was making those claims, Vladimir Putin has come and he has given his own statement. Vladimir Putin was just holding a press conference at St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, and Putin said something unexpected. He publicly stepped in to defend New Delhi. Putin called India an impressive global economy and explicitly warned the West, saying that it is useless to pressurize Prime Minister Narendra Modi and that imposing coercive tactics on a nation of India's scale will only backfire and ruin America's bilateral ties in the long run. Now let us look at this striking contrast. On one hand, you have the United States of America, the Donald Trump, who is giving out those statements. Now, while he uses public friction and economic pressure to gain tactical negotiation leverage, on the other hand, we have Russia, whom we call as our all-weather friend, which uses public praise and diplomatic backing to secure a long-term strategic alliance. Now, why are the Washington and Moscow competing so intensely to define their particular alignment with New Delhi? Let's unpack the strategy behind these opposite approaches. Now, first, let's understand the timing of Donald Trump's rhetoric. Why did he speak whatever he spoke right now? He could have spoken it at any other time, right? But why now? The answer to that lies in the ongoing India-USA comprehensive trade deal. See, diplomatic sources reveal that the negotiations are currently in their final and critical stage, with roughly 99% of deal is already wrapped up. But in an international trade, that final 1% is where the toughest give and take decisions happen. By publicly accusing India of historically looting America through tariffs, Trump is trying to build a psychological leverage to force last-minute concessions at the signing table. But does public pressure really work with New Delhi? Not really. And that is exactly the point that Russia is eager to highlight. That is exactly what Russia is saying. India's primary foreign doctrine is that of strategic autonomy. That's the keyword, strategic autonomy. It's about making geopolitical decisions strictly based on your own national interest, not because of an outside power demanding something. Now, look at the evidence. When the West imposed sweeping sanctions on Moscow in 2022 and expected India to comply, New Delhi stood its ground. You know what it did? We prioritized our energy security, ramped up our imports of discounted Russian crude oil, and pushed bilateral trade at an all-time high of $68.7 billion. But friends, don't mistake Putin's defense of India as pure charity. Russia has massive structural incentives here. Let's talk about them. See, having lost its prime European energy markets, Moscow desperately needs a reliable, large-scale economy that actually keeps its economy running. It needs a consumer market. To keep India anchored, Putin is holding out massive carrots, offering to expand trade to up to $100 billion and proposing deep defense partnerships, including joint development of the advanced 5th generation fighter jet, that is the Su-57. But this rapidly growing trade relationship has a critical structural flaw. What is that flaw? Now look at this chart. This relationship is heavily one-sided. Out of our record trade, India imports a massive $63 billion worth of Russian oil and fertilizers. Yet, we export less than $5 billion in pharmaceuticals and machinery. And for this partnership to be sustainable, India must bridge this massive trade deficit that we are seeing. And this is where the India's foreign policy turns into a high-wire act. To balance its interests, India uses a strategy of multi-alignment. India is refusing to join any single powerful bloc. We have never done it and we will not do it in the future also. Instead, we partner with the US for cutting-edge artificial intelligence, for semiconductors and for advanced defense technology. Simultaneously, we also partner with Russia for traditional military hardware and energy security. It's a clever strategy, but let me be honest, this is a high-wire act and it carries profound systemic risks. Now let's talk about the risks. The first risk is that of strategic fatigue. Now what is that? See, how long can India sit in the Quad alliance with USA while simultaneously building BRICS and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization along Russia and China? Eventually, diplomatic frictions will multiply. And the second risk is the constant shadow of secondary US sanctions. If Washington decides that our trade with Moscow crosses their red lines, our banking systems could face devastating restrictions, something that we are seeing in Russia right now. And finally, there is a most dangerous wildcard of all. And can you guess what is that? As Western isolation forces Russia to depend more on Beijing, that is China, for economic survival, we have to ask a very difficult question. Can New Delhi fully trust Moscow to remain neutral if major military conflict escalates in our Himalayan borders? This is a serious question to think about. And this is the ultimate test of our strategic autonomy policy. The intense maneuvers by Trump and Putin prove one thing. India has successfully positioned itself firmly as a pivotal global power that neither side can afford to lose. We can at least say that much for sure. Superpowers will continue to pressurize, praise and coax New Delhi. But the reality is clear. India is no longer a chess piece on someone else's board. India is a player herself. What do you think? Can India maintain this delicate balance, or will the structural pressure of multi-alignment eventually force us to pick one particular side? And for those of you who are giving their UPSC in the years 2027 or 2028, ARK Reflections IAS is launching a complete Prelims cum Mains comprehensive GS Foundation course from June 15th. Here, each and every subject will be covered from depth from both Prelims and Mains point of view, starting from absolute basics. Seats are limited, so please hurry up and call us at this number, that is 9000 400 055, and our team will be happy to assist you. This is me, Yogi Raj. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.